Hello and welcome. I'm Roy Finley, and this is Chill Out and Duct.
Hi, I'm Rusty Kreider, and today we're going to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act and what it means for you as a homeowner. All right, so we're here today to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act. So what does that mean for us in the HVAC industry, Roy?
Well, in the HVAC industry, for the homeowner, it means that if you have a taxable liability, you can start taking advantage of that and get up to a hefty tax credit back. We're going to talk about the homeowner's tax credit specifically, the 25C homeowner's tax credit, which we have here up on the screen. And Rusty, to start with, why don't you go into telling them just in general, what is the Inflation Reduction Act and how did it extend 25C tax credit?
Well, the 25C tax credit is an ongoing tax credit that has been around since 1989. Every administration has renewed it in one form or another. The Biden administration renewed it in August of 2022. It had originally ended at 2021, and the new signature has actually returned it back to 2022, so it's a retro tax credit. We'll be going through that in a little bit more detail.
That's a really good point to make, and we do need to get into that a little bit further because people that did projects in their home in 2022 could be a tax credit available to them if they ask their accountant.
Exactly, and going to your accountant is always your best option with this. They'll let you know which way you need to go with maximizing your potential for this credit.
So basically, it's two distinctive ways that the tax credit has been reworked, let's say, okay? The first is it retros, just like we just talked about. It's going to retro everything back for 2022.
That's correct.
But the next way is it puts new tax credits and qualification criteria in effect for 2023 to 2032.
That's correct.
And that's what we need to talk about here today, right? So how many other sections are there to the Reduction Act? And we're not going to get into all of those. We're going to do the 25C, but how many other sections are there?
There's like 5 sections to it, but again, we'll be covering the 25C today.
And those other ones are rebates, some other tax credits, some help for low-income housing, which
multifamily housing.
Yes. We're not going to go into all of those. We're going to specifically talk about the 25C homeowners tax credit and how that helps you. So let's move forward and let's go ahead and get to the next page here. So first thing we got to do is let's talk about how the guideline for qualification is set. You want to get that one?
Sure. So it's all set, as you can see on the screen here, by the Consortium for Energy Efficiency. This is a nonprofit entity that was formed for the adoption and promotion of high-efficiency equipment and services. They were actually started in 1991, and around the 2000 mark is when we started the Energy Star Guide, which is actually one of the #1 recognizable brands in American homes.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're going to shop for any appliance, refrigerator, a stove, anything you're going to shop for, always try to do Energy Star. Energy Star means it's been rated by these people right here, the Consortium for Energy Efficiency. And they become so large now that the government has actually recognized them as an entity in this space and said, okay, we're going to set forth the new Inflation Reduction Act, and we're going to rely on you to set all the criteria for what units match this. So far, basically, when we go to the new SEER, which we're about to talk about, SEER 2, 15.2 SEER is pretty much the minimum of where we can be to start getting into these rebates, which is one step up from the ground level of the introduction unit. So let's talk about that. The last thing is SEER to SEER 2. On top of the Inflation Reduction Act coming about at the same time, something else in our industry happened. SEER to SEER 2. Why did it happen at the same time, and how does that affect everybody?
Well, the truth of it is that the industry has always ran under SEER, which was just a different ratio of how to get your efficiency ratio.
What does SEER stand for?
Well, the Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. And that is just a test done on your equipment at a high load capacity. Now, the new SEER 2 has just taken a few more things into account. The #1 being the M1 blower test. That is your actual fan that blows the air into your home, and they did it under its maximum load calculation.
So not that this is anything that you're ever going to need as a homeowner, but you do need to understand that when you're looking at purchasing equipment, your new equipment is going to qualify as SEER 2. And since we're so new into the SEER 2 range, there are a lot of companies out there still selling SEER equipment. And if you purchase SEER equipment, that equipment's not going to qualify.
That is
so you need to make really sure that you're getting the new type of equipment, which is SEER 2 equipment. So what do you think? Let's get into, do we need to, I don't think we need to explain any more about SEER rating, do you?
I mean, the way I would just like to put it to the homeowner is that the SEER 2 rating is to more match up to the Energy Star rating, so everything is just more uniform for the homeowner.
It's another step towards consolidation of the ratings of all of your appliances in your home. And it's a good way because, now we happen to do home generators. So in doing home generators, when you start to go in someone's home, you have to start looking at the different rating scales they use for each appliance to start measuring your load on the house. Well, if we could have one type of energy rating scale, such as the SEER 2, that rated everything in the house, that's really would be really nice if we ever got to that point.
Well, and that's what I believe. And if you were to talk to somebody who works at the CEE, that's what they would tell you is their game plan. They are trying to make this uniform across the board. So Mr. Smith or Mr. Jones goes in and has the same experience and understands what these ratings do for them as far as their energy bills at the end of the month.
That's right. So let's get into looking at the actual credits. So we're going to take, this is another graphic, and we'll put this up for you guys so you can see it, and we'll put a link under the credits so that you can get to this. But the red is what they retroed for 2022, and the blue is your 2023 to 2032. Most notably are things like the credit limit is 10% up to a capped amount. It went to 30% up to a capped amount.
That's right.
You want to take a couple of these? Well,
let's kind of just go over the retro first. As you can see under the first line there, this is a non-refundable tax credit. What that means for you is if you have a tax liability, this can get you as close to zero or to zero, but not to a profit for you.
So let's talk about that a minute. In our conversations with different people about this, a lot of people think when you say taxable liability, it means did I get a refund or did I not get a refund? No, that's not what a taxable liability means. Taxable liability means that during the year, if you're a professional and you work at a career, during the year you pay in every week into your taxes. And at the end of the year, you may or may not get some of that back, but the portion that was kept was your taxable liability.
Correct.
So this is going to reduce your taxable liability. So say if you got back a $500 rebate this year, you might say, well, I don't have a taxable liability. Well, that's not true.
That's correct.
With using this, you may end up getting back $2,500.
That's exactly right.
Or even a little bit more, depending on what you've paid in during the year. So that's enough about that. We really recommend that we're not accountants. We really recommend that you go to your accountant.
That's right.
And let them go over all of this. And there's a couple forms, and we'll also put links to the forms that you need under this video. And they'll get you the right forms that you do to claim this on your taxes. Okay. So go ahead and finish up the retro on the 22.
Yes. So with the credit limit, it's 10% up to capped amount. The capped amount is $300. All right. You can also get the total lifetime limit of $500, which means you can get up to the $800.
Yeah.
All right. So understand that this is for straight air or for a heat pump system. So the straight air has to have a matching furnace that qualifies with it, and then the heat pump has to match the rating as well.
Yeah. So that's your retro. So we get into the 2023 to 2032. This is where it really gets interesting because now you instead of a maximum lifetime limit of $500, you're going to get an annual limit of $1,200. And a lot of people go, okay, well, $1,200 is the most I can get. No, $1,200 is the tax credit itself. Then you get up to 30%, up to $2,000 of the actual project cost.
Yes.
So if you buy a $10,000 unit, which by the way is about the market price of a 3-ton split heat pump system,
standard price
on the market right now, 15.2 SEER is $10,000 to $12,000.
That's right.
So if you look at the cost on that, number one, you're going to get $3,200 right there.
That's right.
And now
I'm going to say this. I love to use your terminology on this. This is the meat and potatoes of the Inflation Reduction Act as far as it comes to HVAC requirements for us. This is where you're going to save a lot of money. We can offer you a standard 14 SEER equipment, or we can offer you the upgrade, and with the upgrade comes so many tax rebates and credits that it costs less than the standard equipment.
Yeah, normally each step up you go, if you talk about, we go back to SEER, and you talk about as a customer, most contractor companies out there are going to offer you at least 3 options. So they're going to offer you a standard SEER, which would be like a 14.3 SEER 2, a 15.2 SEER 2, and then maybe a 17.1 SEER 2. So each time you step up, you get more efficiency. What does it basically mean? It means less electricity usage for the same amount of BTUs. Same amount of cooling, less money to do it, okay? So if we got the same amount of cooling, less money to do it, each time we step up, we understand that, hey, that's much better for me in the long run for my home. Well, most of the time, those steps are about $2,000 increments. Most reputable companies out there who price their stuff the way it should be priced, which is often manufacturer's retail price, when they price it off of that and they do a true margin, which is what you're supposed to do in a company, it puts them about $2,000 apart. If you get a quote from someone and it's 3 options and one option is just, crazy different than the other ones for the same type of equipment, you might want to just look into that a little bit further, but that's a different video. So anyway, if we're talking about the now going forward, we can take a split heat pump system, right? We're going to get $2,000.
That's right. And you'll get that $1,200 credit as well.
And you're going to get that $1,200 credit. All right. So now a split heat pump, non-ducted. Let's talk about that because that's big.
That is going to be a huge revolutionary change for our industry moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the mini split non-ducted systems are technically the wave of the future as far as energy efficiency and home cooling costs. So
yeah, it's a game changer. Overseas is a lot more prevalent here than here. We don't utilize them the way we should, but for here we think of them as the room over the garage, or the garage itself, or
sunroom,
the sunroom, or the man shop. Those type of things we put a mini split in. But you really could take the instance of empty nesters. You've got a 3,000 square foot house, 4-bedroom, and you've raised all your kids. We can now come in when it's time to change your unit out. We can put a unit in that's going to take care of your house. We can also take your master suite and maybe your living room area and put a mini split in there, and you can keep those 2 rooms the comfort that you like all year long, and then reduce the temperature or increase the temperature on the rest of the house depending on the season, and save more money in your utility.
That's right.
More money, lots more money.
Yeah, this gives us so many more options for personalized comfort and for energy savings.
And now, I mean, with a $2,000, they are in fact they are a little bit more expensive in the front end to put in because they're such a high SEER product.
That's right.
But with this reduction, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer to put one of these in your house when you're doing something.
And then you add AAA's extended warranties to this. I mean, it's almost like, man, you got to almost keep them from hanging up the phone on you and saying, I need 2 of them.
Yeah. We don't want to preach AAA too much today. We're here to give you all the information we want for the industry. But let's go ahead and take a look now. This is non-heat pumps. So the first page was all about heat pumps. This is non-heat pumps. So now when we look at this, it's the same thing for the 2022, right. But 2023, let's look at that and talk about why we don't get as much.
To kind of cover what the non-heat pumps are, we're talking about 92% furnaces or above, and we're talking about the straight air conditioning that would attach to your furnace, to your gas furnace. So the retro is the 10% cap with $300 and the $500 rebate. Moving forward on the 25C for up to 2032, we have the 30%, and then we have up to $600 on a SEER 2 rated equipment.
Yeah. So let's why are we only getting $600 on the gas part?
That's because the total goal of all of this is to move us away from fossil fuel usage. So, of course, as you upgrade your fossil fuel equipment, they will give you some rebates on it, but the true measure here is to push you for all electric equipment.
I agree. So one other thing that I think is worth or we should talk about this morning, manufactured home systems don't really qualify here.
It's hard for them.
But there is a way. we can retro your manufactured home and put you a package system in. And with the correct package system and a reduct, you can actually get a pretty good amount, about $4,000, right?
That's
about
correct.
$4,000.
Yes.
I doing a retro. So if you ever thought about wanting to retro your modular or your manufactured home to a traditional ductwork system, now is the time. The Inflation Reduction Act is going to help you do it.
Look, for any for-profit electrical company, they will be offering you rebates to put these in as well. That's going to be a whole nother video that we cover for the providers in our area. But I would always suggest contact your local provider and see what their rebates are on what equipment they have.
That's right. And also, if you go to our website, we have a credit and rebate page. If you go there, all of your local utility companies, we've got them listed.
That's right.
And what they give you. So let's move forward. So let's talk about the notable stuff that's new. So they added non-ducted systems, so mini splits have been added. So that's a big deal. Changed the lifetime credit from $500 to an annual limit of $1,200. Went from SEER to SEER 2 rating scale. We increased the limit from 10% to 30% of the project, and it no longer has to be a primary home. Tell them about that.
Well, that is another great step that they've made. They realize there are a lot of people out there that have a home that's been left to them by a loved one, a rental property, a secondary vacation home that's not their primary residence. Right. All these things now fall under the umbrella that you can get these tax credits and rebates.
That's right. And so this is like I said, it's really good for the guy who owns a couple of rental properties.
Oh yeah,
I can't stress this enough that in today's age in our society, I don't think there's ever been a better time as far as for credits or rebates that the Inflation Reduction Act has made it possible now.
I mean,
I don't see a better time in history. I've never seen the rebates this high and tax credits this high.
Not only that, but if you really think about as far as you could go for home comfort and for energy savings, this is the time to really think about the dual fuel option for your home.
Yeah, so if we put a dual fuel option in, let's say it's a $10,000 system, $2,000 maxed out tax credit, $1,200 tax credit.
And then an additional $600.
An additional $600 because we added a dual fuel furnace to it. Now it's one thing even better than that, right? So some other tax credits in this section. Let's go ahead. You take the first one, man. How awesome is this? We do this. By the way, we do this for every system we install. It's included. This is not an extra charge from us.
That is correct. For every install that we put in, we replace your service disconnect. By code, service disconnect has to be 4 foot from your unit, and because we like to keep our tech safe, we go ahead and replace that with the install. The really good thing about this is you get a $600 tax credit for doing an electrical panel upgrade, and the disconnect falls right under that umbrella.
Yeah.
You cannot beat that.
So for a regular homeowner, if you were doing a repair, if you called us out to do a repair and we needed to replace that disconnect, I mean, literally it would be about a $600 repair. So it's free now.
That's right.
I mean, you can put a new disconnect on your house, and we can give you a rebate, and there you go. I mean, a tax credit. I'm sorry, I keep saying a rebate this morning because my mind is on all the rebates we're going to be doing for the next video. But this is a tax credit we're talking about this morning.
All right. Now, this last thing is the qualified home energy audits.
Correct.
All right. So when we come to do your quote for your unit, we will give you a tax energy audit. What that is our guys will go through and they will just audit the usage of the appliances and light bulbs in your home.
Insulation values, window RV values, small little thing we fill out. We've got some guys who work here that do the presentation to comfort advisors to come in your home, and they are all certified as the energy audits to do them. So you're going to get that credit.
That's correct. All of our guys that come into your home will be energy audit certified. That is correct.
Yeah. So basically, just for a recap for today, you can get up to anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000 if you do this right back. If you pair that with the $1,500 old equipment buyback that we provide, so we buy your old equipment back for $1,500. I mean, you're talking well over $5,000 off of a $10,000 to $12,000 project. Now, I don't know about anyone else or what other companies have going on, or people who've been in the industry maybe longer than 20 years, which is about how long we've been in the industry. I personally have been in the industry about 25, but this company's been in the industry about 20 years. I've never seen a time when you could get a tax credit this much.
There has never been a time in our lifetime or before that this type of credit was ever offered. This is the time to make the move. If you've got a 7-year-old unit or older, this is the time to really start thinking about how much to maximize the potential of the credits. And do not worry about the credit running out. It has already been said that if this credit fund actually gets low, it gets to a certain point, they will renew it.
I mean, that's a great thing, but I'm glad you brought that up. We didn't put that in the script.
Automatic renewal.
Yeah. And just for you guys out there in video land, we're new at this. This is something that we're trying for the company. We're going to try to really put together a lot of videos for y'all to give you the information that you need as we go through the years. And we'll try to make them all available on our channel and our website. So once again, I'm Roy Finley.
I'm Rusty Kreider, and this is Chill Out and Duct.
Thanks for joining us.
AAA air when you need us. AAA heating and air.